Today we're chatting with Deb Krump, owner of Krump Benefit Consulting. Deb has been in the insurance world for years and specializes in supplemental insurance with Aflac and Medicare. Fun fact, Deb also provides supplemental insurance benefits right here at Moxie, so she's someone we trust firsthand. If you're wondering what supplemental insurance actually is or why businesses should consider offering it to their employees, Deb's the expert you want to hear from. We'll dive into how she got started in the industry, what supplemental insurance means for both businesses and employees, and practical tips for getting started with offering these benefits. Welcome to Behind the Brand, the podcast for small business owners, solopreneurs, and aspiring entrepreneurs who are ready to start strong, stand out, and stay bold. I'm Taylor.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Isabella, and we're part of the powerhouse team of marketers at Moxie Creative.
We're taking you behind the scenes to explore what it takes to build and grow a memorable brand.
Ready to get behind the brand? Let's dive in. Good morning, Moxieverse. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Brand. Taylor here, and I'm joined by Moxie Mama Kelly.
Hello.
And we have a very special guest, friend of Moxie Creative, Deb Krump. Deb, hi.
Thanks for having me.
And for this very special episode, we're changing the name, aren't we? Behind the Benefits?
Behind the Benefits, yeah. Behind the Benefits on Behind the Brand, yes.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Deb, if you haven't gathered, is here to talk about benefits for business.
Woohoo! Everyone's favorite subject.
Yes, yeah.
Most times of the year.
I'm sure. So Deb is a supplemental insurance provider. She also provides Medicare, and she has been friends with Kelly for a very long time. She's a client of ours. We do some email marketing for her. We've helped with website, lots of things. But she is our supplemental benefit provider. And
I think we can say Aflac.
she provides Aflac to Moxie. And we can get into all that and like talk about our experiences with it. But I just want to say I'm very thankful that we have supplemental benefits and that Kelly has given us the opportunity to have that, because I think they're incredible, and I'm really excited for us to be able to teach our listeners who maybe don't know about Aflac, what Aflac can provide, and what you do for business. So let's get started. Deb, introduce yourself. Let our listeners know who you are.
Well, I'm really honored to be on your podcast, by the way. This is my inaugural podcast. I've never been on a podcast before, so.
The first of many, I'm sure.
Everybody's going to be banging down the doors. I want that Deb lady.
So I am a supplemental insurance specialist in the area in central Minnesota. I've been an Aflac agent for almost 22 years now. And I also added Medicare to my practice about 8 years ago now.
That long?
Yeah.
Jeez.
When the cost plans went away. There's a lot of confusion about benefits, and it's something that a lot of times people make mistakes at. For most people who are working, they get one shot a year to decide those benefits, and they say that there's a large percentage of people that make a mistake. They actually waste like about $750 a year if they have no guidance. So there's all kinds of things that enter into that benefit circle, not just like health insurance and maybe some dental and vision and life insurance and things like that. But there's all kinds of other things entering in because deductibles keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So more employers are trying to find solutions like flexible spending accounts, health savings accounts, and then there might be like sprinkle in some dependent daycare and some other things like that. So it becomes pretty complex. I did kind of like a benefits primer with a brand new business owner last Friday. Wasn't intending to go down this road, but he kept asking questions like, well, what about this? What about that? And I was trying to show him, like, these are ways that we can help you save money as a business from the FICA exposure and pre-tax benefits. I think he was trying to make sense of some of the things that he gets already as a teacher and that his wife gets as a teacher. But one of the things that he said was, nobody explains these benefits to me, and nobody explains them to my wife. So we just go about making these decisions,
Yes, and it's
not really knowing if we're making the right choices.
and it's full of jargon, I feel like. It's another language. And that's what you've done with me. You've helped me as a business owner and personally understand a little bit more. Still not everything.
And you're doing the right thing. The statistics are showing that, about 51% of employees, say they don't have $1,000 just sitting around in a savings account to pay for co-insurance deductibles, things like that. So if 51% of people are telling us that, and more of the exposure is going into the larger deductibles, right? Larger deductible plans, they're everywhere, whether you're buying them on the marketplace, in the private exchange, or whether you're getting health insurance through your workplace. Supplemental insurance has now become not a nice to have, but a need to have.
Yeah.
So
good point. Oh, I got the chills.
Yeah.
But fun fact, the very first benefit I've ever offered our employees was Aflac, because for my first business, we started during the recession. 2009. And at that time, small businesses, not everybody offered insurance. And you said, hey, but you could offer Aflac and it won't cost you a thing.
Right, and
Yep.
it'll save you some money too.
Yeah,
and
so we did
also,
that.
fun fact, 2009 had been my biggest production year as an Aflac agent.
Because
Wow.
of the recession.
So, because you just find people to help, right? And so there's so many ways that we help people. And I had someone who had cancer, right? So that's one of the big things that Aflac provides is cancer insurance. And Aflac's done it for a long, long time. In fact, there's a duck, not one of those, but there's a duck with the year on the back of when cancer insurance started with Aflac. It's 1957. So there's a gal that she'd been a client of mine. She'd had cancer for like 7 years. And her last payment, like about 3-4 weeks ago, was over $24,000. That wasn't the first claim.
From Aflac.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Crazy.
So this was her 7th year of having treatments, right? So lots of experimental treatment, radiation, chemo, surgeries, drugs, trips to Mayo Clinic, time staying down there.
So these are all the things that Aflac will pay. So explain how it works a little bit.
So, yeah, in some of those situations, because it's cash, right, you can use that money any way that you choose to. A lot of times people will look at it like, they'll look at it kind of very practically like, well, so if I have a $5,500 deductible and I have cancer that year, okay, well, I guess I'm out $5,500. But what they forget to think about, unless they've been through it, is year 2, 3, 4, 5. Most cancer treatment is 5 years.
Oof.
So that's 5 years of having to meet a new deductible, hopefully being able to keep your job, work enough hours so you can keep your job and keep those benefits. What sometimes happens when you see people with the GoFundMe sites is they end up losing their job, losing their health insurance because they can't afford to pay for it anymore.
Right.
They've got the lost income. And if there's more than one person at home, now they've got actually 2 lost incomes because that person is staying home to care for them, or they're juggling a bunch of other things around. So that's where those dollars are really, really important, and they're not taxed.
So what happens if, let's say, heaven forbid, I get diagnosed with cancer. I have a traditional health benefit plan here. What does Aflac do?
So Aflac's going to provide that cash to you and your family. So
As
you
soon
can,
as I get a diagnosis,
Yep.
you're coming with a check.
Yep, the first check is,
Okay.
in most cases, it's well over $5,000
Okay.
with the most recent.
And I can use
Cancer
that for
plans.
whatever I need to.
Mhm.
Okay.
So one of the things that the person that I was talking about who just had that last claim of about $24,000, that wasn't her entire claim portfolio. It was much bigger than that, but she actually ended up passing away about 3 weeks ago. But one of the things her son told me, he said, I really appreciate all of your help throughout the years, because a lot of times in these claims, we're also working with a family member, especially in cancer. Chemo messes with your brain. You can't remember things. You're going to so many appointments. Your life has changed. Your whole routine is different. You're not going to work anymore. You're going to a lot of appointments. And people forget things, and they're tired. And so a lot of times there's another family member, whether it's a son, a daughter, a spouse, a significant other, what have you, that we work with to just kind of keep the claim information coming so we can keep them paid. And one of the things he said was, really appreciate all the help you provided, but also it really helped my mom maintain her quality of life, which translates to she got to stay in her house.
Yeah.
She wasn't going to work, but she had all those things taken care of. And that's the cash benefit, right? Because the health insurance is going to pay doctors and hospitals.
Yeah.
They're not paying the policyholder, the person going through that, and that's
Right.
what we do. That's
Yeah.
what Aflac does.
Yeah, absolutely. I recently, our last benefit cycle, opted into the cancer insurance. Even as a
smart.
healthy 31-year-old, I was like, I
builds.
don't know what could happen. And correct me if I'm wrong, my children also have the benefit too, correct?
Twice the benefit
Yeah,
that you do.
so which I think is like a really awesome thing. So I'm able to then have my kids covered. So obviously cancer benefit is just one of many. So what are some of the other benefits that you offer as
so
an Aflac agent?
Disability coverage, I personally write a lot of disability coverage, and it gets used for maternity, but it gets used for all kinds of other things. I've had people that have been on vacation, fell out of a canoe, hit their head, ended up with like a traumatic brain injury, and they were out of work. You know, you might feel physically like, I can do this, I can go
Yeah.
to work, but your brain is telling you, nope, you're not going to go to work, and you're sure not going to be looking at a screen.
Yeah.
And you're not going to be driving, and think of all the things that changed. So disability is really, really important, because we like to use the goose analogy, although that is a duck. But, right? So the person who's earning the income is the goose that lays the golden eggs, right? Without the goose, there's no golden eggs. The golden eggs are your house, your lifestyle, the other things, your ability to maintain your quality of life. This son of my client was talking about is helping to maintain that quality of life so that you can keep your house, you can keep paying the rent, you can keep the groceries coming in or all those other things. I'm glad that you did enroll in that.
Me too.
That coverage. I had a client like about 3 weeks ago, 35 years old with breast cancer. That is the youngest client
happens.
that I've ever had,
It happens.
recent times. So that is the fastest growing group of people with cancer, are people in their 30s. But
Yeah.
we pay a
Don't
lot
tell me
of.
that, Deb.
Okay, all right. We'll just let the policy build.
Well, and especially like colorectal cancer.
Yes.
That's really, I just think the food we eat, everything is for younger. You just never know, and that's what insurance is for.
Right.
Some people think, oh, I'm paying in and I'm not using it. Well, it's for what you don't know.
Yeah.
Small investment to protect for
Yes.
large
Yes.
situation.
So other types of policies.
So our accident coverage.
Yes. I'm a huge proponent.
Yeah, I
of
can't say that, but you can say that.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yes.
Yes, you have a little boy that likes
Yes.
to get
Well,
hurt.
my little boy, I'd been here working with Kelly for a year, and I think right away when I could get on Aflac, I was like, yeah, let's do the accident coverage. And then 6 months later, I actually had to use it because my son broke his leg on his second birthday. And I mean, it covered everything. Because he was 2, they couldn't see where the break was. So every week we were going to the ortho and they were taking off the cast and re-putting on the cast, and we were paying our copay for all this. And I mean, it covered everything. We had probably 15 appointments in that 4-week period where his leg was broke. And I mean, even a $50 copay, that adds up really quickly, and that accident insurance covered everything. I have to put a claim in again because he just got stitches. So as a parent of young children, I cannot say how much I love that accident insurance.
We pay probably more claims out of my office on that. Sometimes it's like bubble wrap.
Yeah.
That's what they say, right?
I broke my collarbone falling out of a laundry basket, so I think my kids are just like prone to like, yeah, I know.
Last week or?
Yeah, no, second grade. But yeah, so like my kids are just like kind of screwed. I don't know. They're just gonna be clumsy.
There's other things that we help with too. So a lot of times, like the maternity side of it, right? So the price of having babies. I know you guys do my monthly email.
Yep.
That is compliant approved using Aflac material. But talking about the expense of the calculator of what does it cost to have a baby.
Yeah.
Right? So
lot more than
that's
used
where the
to.
doctor duck comes in. So the hospital coverage and our disability kind of go hand in hand. And then we have a critical illness plan that actually has a really big intensive care benefit in it, that when mom is covered and baby comes early, there's a huge NICU benefit.
And
that would pay
Brittany,
out as
we
well.
can just say that, one of our other employees, she
Really benefited.
yes. What I love about Deb is that she's paying attention to what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Like not trying to be nosy, but you're like, Brittany, have that baby. I don't know what's going on. You're watching Facebook and everything. But I don't even think Brittany realized it. And I had to call her, like, you need to call Deb back.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was covered.
Yeah.
And it was huge. You were calling him the $10,000 baby. Yeah, it paid it.
Well, and sometimes too, like that, I don't creep on people.
I
okay?
know.
So
I know, but you're very aware.
Well,
and
you also have a different relationship with the Moxies.
Yeah.
We can say
That's
that.
true.
But I'm just
We
saying
live
that,
close by.
but you're aware and you're noticing what's happening to people. I mean, that's that extra, like, you're not just selling, you're caring.
And you ask those questions when you sit down and,
Yeah.
people are signing up for benefits. You make them think. Like for me, I did when I had my daughter, I had the hospital coverage, and now I am done having children and I do not have the hospital coverage. And you're like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yes. Like, I'm done. We're good. I don't need it right now. I would rather have my cancer insurance or whatever. You just have those conversations, and it's strictly for the benefit of someone. You're not trying to push anybody into doing something. You just are thinking about their whole picture and what the whole landscape
Well,
of
I
their
remember
family
the day
situation looks like.
one of our re-enrollments when, Deb said, to me, we have a lot of young ladies working here. Maybe you want to talk to them about,
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with you and Brittany both.
Yeah.
These are the ones you need for maternity
Yeah.
leave, which is nice because some people don't
Right.
have maternity leave
But
benefits.
that's another reason why you guys are such a great client, is because the business owner understands the benefit and how it's important for the employees, right?
Right.
So you're not telling them about it just so that you don't cost Moxie a lot of money on the health insurance, right?
No.
You're telling because you truly care about them and you want to truly educate them. So those are the things that I try to do as well too. And look at where people are in their life. So if they're first starting out as a new hire, I'm going to talk to them about life insurance.
Yeah.
Because almost every new hire has a ton of debt.
Yeah.
Student debt, right? And just making them aware of that. And I tell them too, I said, if you're seeing this as a brand new hire, voluntary benefits are not going away. This is going to be part of your corporate or your business culture, your workplace culture for your entire life. So understanding how they work and what applies and what doesn't, what might be important to somebody who's 24 or 25 and a half or 26, right? Coming off of mom and dad's
Yeah.
health insurance.
Exactly.
Might be way different than somebody who's situation like yours, done having kids. Kelly, kids graduating from college now and going off into their first jobs. I try to meet people where they're at. Another thing too about paying attention to what's going on. I try to communicate with people in the style that's best for them. So a new mom who's probably sleep deprived,
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to call them. I'm going to text them. It's like, I know you're probably in between naps. Just to remind them about things like that. There's other things that we try to do too. And from a claims perspective, we try to gather information and make it as easy as possible. So if people say, I don't know how to find this information, I direct them, here's my chart, here's what you want to look at.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want my help with things like that, give me permission and we can go and just pull that information as long as you give permission. We can get the information probably a lot faster than you just trying to click and get us the wrong stuff. Or
Yeah.
I try to just, again, kind of meet people where they're at.
So that's part of your job too, is not just, selling the policies. You help with the claim process.
Oh, yeah. I just checked. We're at like since 2015, since we've been tracking claims electronically in the office where we could put on a spreadsheet. Right now we're at about $4.5 million of claims.
Wow.
4.5. Just coming, I mean, that's not paid from our office in St. Cloud. It's paid from Aflac in Georgia.
Yeah.
But where we're facilitating. Some years.
That's a lot of money into our community.
Yeah. There's sometimes we've had people that have used that money from Aflac as a down payment on a house.
Yeah.
I had that a few years ago when someone had like little ones that came early, big hospital benefit and NICU benefit. And I said, well, maybe you can just use that money because their family went from I think they had 3 at the time, one child, mom and dad.
Sure.
To boom, 5.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe you need use it to get a van. She's like, no, we need a bigger house.
Okay.
That's what, and
It's
they
cash,
still live in that
right?
house.
So there's no.
Yep, right. They
There's
can
no,
use it for whatever you need to.
Once it's yours, it's yours.
Yep.
So one of the things that I really wanted to talk about, and I want to bring this up because I've heard you talk, and I'm not going to get too deep in the nitty gritty about oh yeah, this business owner just won't let me come in and help their employees with Aflac. So what does it look like for a business owner? What are the requirements for them? And then what are maybe the benefits for them?
That's a great question. So when I started in this business 22 years ago, when deductibles were $500, right? Employers were probably paying 100% of the health insurance then. Now they have to pay 50%, right, if you're offering health insurance. But because of costs and because there's plans available in ACA, the marketplace, things like that, there's some business owners that aren't doing any benefits because, number one, they can't afford it. And they know that their employees can access things maybe elsewhere. So consequently, what now has become what used to be like a voluntary benefit, sometimes employers will say, I'm going to make this a benefit that I pay for. And the advantage is that, and they don't have to, it can still strictly be voluntary. I still have clients that, it's strictly a voluntary benefit. I have a small for-profit company that we enrolled 5 people, and people bought dental, accident, disability, and life insurance. So it doesn't cost the employer anything to have the benefit. They have someone that's helping them to educate their employees. So I'm truly a benefits advisor, right? And then I also try to help my clients build their businesses. I love referring business to my clients or helping them find solutions to things like, hey, our best person just left. I'm like, I know somebody that's looking for this kind of job. Or I have somebody who exits and says, I don't know what I'm going to do for my next job. Like, would you like some ideas?
Yeah.
So I love connecting people that way.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint of it doesn't take much time. So a lot of times business owners are very concerned about productivity, right? Oh, it's going to take away from my time. You're just going to sell my people. You're going to bend their arms. We don't want to do that because number one, why would we do that? We're not going to be, that's going to be a very good relationship, right?
Yeah.
I live in the community and I'm not going to go through the grocery store line and have somebody give me the evil eye because,
Look at that bully dad.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's very cost effective. A lot of times employers like providing an Aflac benefit because Aflac doesn't spike in cost. It stays level, unlike health insurance. And it's a deduction for them as a business owner as opposed to increasing pay, although that's the easy one, short term. But in the long term, it actually costs the employer more because now you've just raised your payroll, which increases your payroll tax, which potentially could increase your work comp as well because that's a factor in your work comp. So
The only thing I would say is that, they have to make the deductions from the paycheck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so it's a little extra work, which it's not for me at all because I have my accountant do it and you tell them what to deduct. But I never understood why some people are so against it.
I think they
because
just don't know. I think
it's just, because again, I'm going to bring it back to how when I first met you, when I first started my first business, it was like, yeah, it's free to you. And you can, everyone was so thankful to have something because I didn't have traditional health insurance.
So I just got off the phone before I came here with a business owner who's saying how picky employers are now becoming. I don't know so much in this market, but he was talking about his daughters who live in Minneapolis, and he said they can't find jobs.
Yes, it's been
Yeah.
really hard, I've heard.
And the employers know it's important to offer benefits, right? Because when you have
Yes.
a choice between candidate A versus candidate B, and you really like A, but A's like, I really need this, this, and this. And if you can't come up with this, this, and this, then you're passing on A and going with B, which might not be it's not your first choice,
Right.
right, as an employer. So making sure that you're leveling that playing field, being as competitive as possible. It's so costly to replace employees.
Yeah.
It is. It's from a time standpoint, training, the lost productivity for getting the new person into a cycle or where they can really be the most productive for you as an employer. So being able to hang on to those people is really, really important.
Yeah, we don't even think about that anymore, but in the early days, that was a big deal. Do we have insurance or not?
Yeah. So if a business owner is listening to this episode, what are the ways that they could get started with supplemental insurance, and what would that process look like?
Well, respond to my email and set an appointment. No. So a lot of my referrals I get through other business owners that I come in contact with. So whether I'm talking to somebody through chamber or through a business referral group, or a lot of times other friends, right? So just getting in contact with me. Lots of people reach out to me who don't have an agent anymore to
Yeah, just
file their
Google
claims.
you.
Yeah,
you come
I'm
up.
pretty high up. Yep. And I'm fortunate to have a lot of great people around me in the building that I'm in. I'm in the Jacobs Executive Center, the south side of St. Cloud. So they are well aware of what I do,
Yeah.
and they have really helped me grow my Medicare side of my business, which I like to grow organically, right? Because you want to be able that you can still provide that high level of customer service and not just it has to have numbers, so not just people. You
So
wanna
people
have-
can just give you a call and you come visit with them and you explain the whole process, right?
Right. And there's, I probably say about 90% of the employers that I meet with the first time say, yeah, this makes sense. Why wouldn't we do this?
Right.
And then we've got some that won't do a meeting. So
yeah,
if
can't help those people, I guess.
well, some business owners put a lot on themselves too. So a lot of business owners that maybe that 5 to 50 space might be, the owner, the CFO, the HR, they're doing payroll. So they see this sometimes as more work for themselves, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So if they have a team of people that they're working with, even if it's a small team, sometimes that makes it a little bit more palatable. But for those people, those business owners that aren't doing anything, I would just wonder how long are they going to be in business?
Yeah.
Right.
Because they're trying to keep those employees. And they're maybe lucking out and they say, well, so-and-so's spouse has the health insurance, so I don't have to worry about that. But if they ever had somebody that had a catastrophic event, even if it's an accident or a disabling situation.
You're actually protecting your workforce too.
Yeah.
It's not only caring about your employees. You're also you're well now. Come back to work.
Right.
know.
And in Minnesota, we have the paid family medical leave, which I've been talking a ton about this last summer because the details are starting to finally gel for a lot of business owners. We still have business owners that we meet with yeah, is that a thing?
Well, they've been
You know?
talking about it forever, and it's not in place yet, is it?
No,
It
January.
goes into effect in January, but there's all kinds of things that happen before then.
Right.
But
and
some of
now
the-
all my people had babies.
Yeah.
They're all done.
Damn it.
Well,
You were very kind to us for maternity leaves. We're fine.
but what people don't sometimes we want to make sure that people know that it's not a replacement for other benefits.
Okay.
Right.
And in
okay.
fact, Minnesota's the 14th state to put paid family medical leave in place, and all those other states on the West Coast, on the East Coast, I think there's Colorado either has it or is going to. They all coexist with AFLAC. AFLAC is in every single one of those states.
Okay, so the disability is still important.
Disability, accident, all of our benefits are still important. In fact, the fellow who's in charge of this program through DEED, through the Minnesota
Yeah.
Department, said that, disability and all the other plans would coexist.
This is just a little bit of help.
Yeah, and it's not a ton. The paid family medical leave can do things that some other benefits wouldn't do,
Yeah.
like if you have to stay home and care for a sick spouse,
Sure.
a sick child, things like that. And it can also pay in clumps of time as opposed to a consistent period of time.
Sure.
So if you need 3 days there, or I'm moving my parents into assisted living on this week or whatever, you can use it for things like that.
Okay.
So
But
it's got a place.
But it's not like some people thinking they can cancel because it's going to cover everything.
Correct. And we've had some brokers that have told their clients, you can get rid of the group disability or the group life insurance because you're going to be paying for this now. That's not good advice.
No.
That's not good advice.
So let's talk briefly about Medicare, if we don't mind.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you added Medicare, but isn't that just come from the government? Why do you have to help with that?
Oh, well, if anything comes from the government, it comes with strings.
Yeah.
I better understand it. So there is just a lot. Every single person that I sit with who is aging into Medicare, and that's not the only way you can get Medicare, right? You can get Medicare if you're disabled for 24 months.
But it's 65 usually.
65, yep.
Okay.
So they all tell me, I'm getting so much mail, I don't even know how to make sense of this. So they're confused. They're just bombarded with information because they're turning 65. So what we do is help make sense of that. I kind of call it like Medicare 101. So to help them understand, this is what these pieces are. This is what you've paid for through payroll deduction, all the years you've worked. This is what Part B does. This is what Part A does. This is what C and D do, and things like that. And then just kind of explaining some of their options. So there's actually statistically a lot of people, I don't remember what the stat is, but that are working past 65. And that's pretty common, actually.
Yeah.
And there's different options, too. Just because you turn 65 doesn't mean you have to go into Medicare. If you have the right kind of health insurance, and we talk about that, too, so that you can avoid late enrollment penalties and not have to opt into Medicare at that point, you could do that. Some people, though, once we do the math, I call it Medicare math, sit down and look at what are you paying for your health insurance, your group health insurance plan, and what is your exposure? What's that coinsurance? What's the max out of pocket? What's the deductible? In Medicare, we don't have deductibles. Well, we have drug deductibles, I guess, but not a health insurance deductible. It's a max out of pocket. But because you have Medicare and a plan working with you, you don't nearly have the exposure. So even if you had a max out of pocket Medicare Advantage plan with like $4,700 max out of pocket, somebody looks at it and goes, wow, I just came off of a MinSure plan with a $9,000 one. I'm like, this is great. I said, well, actually, it takes a lot of services to get to $4,700 because we're talking about much smaller copays here, there, and et cetera. So it's challenging to every situation is a little bit different with the Medicare situation.
So does that cost a client anything to go through you? Yeah.
Nope.
Okay.
So we do just like sitting down with a business owner to look at, AFLAC options or other benefit options. It doesn't cost anything to sit down and look at that. And there's sometimes when I have Medicare clients that are like, I'm not sure what I should do. My 65th birthday's coming up. I know I'm supposed to do something, but I'm not quite sure what. And what are my options? So let's come in and talk about that. So I lay those things out.
And Medicare's not totally free. Like people think it's free and it's not, right?
No, we like to say, well, Part A doesn't have a cost because you've already paid for it, right?
Sure.
And Part B is the doctor's
But I mean, I
visits
think
and things
people
like
think
that.
the government's just going to provide anything and I don't need to do anything.
No, and you got to
Yeah.
remember when Medicare was devised, I mean, at that time, 65 was considered old age.
Yeah.
That's a swear word now, right? It's like, what? I'm not old.
Right.
So people are living longer, and that's another reason that's kind of driving our entire cycle of the health insurance costs and the growing deductibles and exposure because we're all living longer, and drug coverages are costing more, and so they're trying to find solutions for those things too. So this will be a very interesting Medicare season coming up. You guys are going to do another email campaign for me.
Yeah.
Or process of just read.
In September or October?
I know we're going to do it earlier. We're going to do it, as early in September as we can, actually.
Oh, okay. I'll get that on
I'm
the
getting
schedule.
my constant contact list
Oh,
all
good.
All
figured
figured
out.
out.
So, yeah, some people
Okay.
adding and subtracting. So,
Okay, 65-year-olds listening to the podcast, call Deb.
Yeah. One thing I did want to ask that was just a question that was on my brain and now it came back to my brain as we're talking about Medicare. So if someone would want to get AFLAC, I'm maybe just going to actually pick on like producer Abby here. She's a solopreneur, works by herself. And if she would want to get AFLAC, she could do that, right? She doesn't, you don't need to have a Kelly to be able to get the benefit.
well, it'd be really good if you had Kelly. No, you can do it as an individual. The options are different, though, and the costs are usually higher.
But she's
Okay.
an individual, but she's a sole proprietor.
Right.
So she has a business. She can
Right.
still do it.
Yep.
With one participant.
Correct. Just have different options. The vast majority of what AFLAC is in the workplace. So the payroll deduction, right? The
Yeah.
idea of getting a lot of people together in one place as opposed to knocking out all kinds of different doors. So that's where most of the chassis is built, is in the payroll setting. And kind of
Well, she might be paying herself payroll.
Yeah.
We don't know. We don't.
Right,
We
but-
won't get into that
but
right
you-
now.
But then my
She's
next
shaking
question
her head
is,
no.
okay, not looking at an Abby, just looking at, maybe someone whose work will not offer this benefit, but they
Yes.
really want it because they have little kids or they have a family
want a
history
cancer
of
plan
cancer,
and-
whatever.
Right.
Can they do that?
Absolutely. The offering is a little smaller and it looks a little bit different and the rates are a little bit higher. but you can still access those things. The cancer plan is exactly the same.
Okay.
The accident coverage is a little bit different. Life insurance is available. Dental insurance is available. There's critical illness that's available as well too. So again, just a little bit different offering, but it's still available. And a lot of times we have, sometimes I talk to somebody who's maybe a sole proprietor, and we have a meeting and they decide they're just going to do some coverage for themselves, but then they start adding people. And now once we get 3 people to participate, that makes a payroll group. So then the rates go down
Oh, nice.
and more offerings are available.
Very interesting.
Yes. It's
Well,
all
I think
so
everyone should
interesting.
have Aflac.
I do too.
I think it's such a great benefit, a great addition. It's very cost friendly. I do not think anything is.
No, you don't even miss it out of
affordable.
your check.
No.
Okay.
No.
Can I just? So I got married last August, and
yes.
when we were planning the wedding, and we're getting closer to the wedding, and Eddie said, "Does this mean I can get on your Aflac?"
Yes.
So he's on all my Aflac.
Oh, my Affleck. Yes, because, explain maybe a little bit how that works. So, like, we kind of talked about that, my kids are covered. So, what does that look like
you can have
for
family plans.
families?
So in terms of we can cover an individual, we can cover just the employee and their children. So they might have single parent family, right? We can do insured and spouse. We can do a whole family, and the rate is the same whether you have 10 kids, 2 kids, 1 child.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. So my family grew. And, the deduction went up a little bit for him, but he was so excited because he was self-employed for so long, and then his former employer would not get Aflac. And
Yeah.
so he was just like, I'm like, is this a selling point?
and you get
Did you give them a duck for their wedding present?
they got other things.
That's funny.
Funny. Wonderful. Well, I think this was super informative. I always love to hear about this stuff. And I just want to, again, attest to how great you are, Deb, and how much you care about the people that you're helping. I think when you come into the workforce and, maybe health insurance is your benefit, you kind of just blindly okay, this is what it is. And then you go in and you're like, I don't know what's covered. I don't know. Why am I getting this bill? Whatever. But you just do such an awesome job about explaining what those supplemental benefits are. And I think for anybody that is going through the Medicare jungle, it seems like you do exactly the same. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
If someone is interested in getting you for insurance, call you, email, website, all the things.
Right, all the things.
Okay. I don't know if we said her official name of her business. It is Krump Benefit Consulting.
Yes.
Or KBC.
See.
Deb Krump.
She's a beautiful website.
And logo. Oh, we
Yes.
didn't do the logo, but her son did.
Yeah, you did. You
No,
you finished it.
Yeah.
Jacob started it.
Yeah.
And I have a sign now too. I have an Aflac sign and a Krump Benefit
saw
Consulting
that.
sign.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
On 33rd
Yeah, we
Street.
helped you with that. We had to get a lot of words and a little. That's
Yeah,
what we do
right.
best.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Well, Deb, before you leave us, we like to ask our guests a few questions just to tie all the episodes together. So, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are we
Okay.
talking about marketing?
Like business tips.
Okay.
What would be your go-to business tip for others who are thinking about starting a business?
I would say one thing I've learned is that you have to surround yourself with good professionals, right? So I think anybody who's not using a CPA is shortchanging himself. I mean, God bless
Okay, that's
people.
funny because we talk about we have the same CPA,
Yeah.
Sherry, and we had Sherry on. We're
Right.
like we talk about her so much, we had to have her on, and so
But
surround
it's true. I mean, look at all the things that we've all gone through since COVID, especially.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, and all the PPP and all the things that nobody knew anything about, and then you're just going to sit in the corner and twiddle your thumbs about it and hope it all gets figured out. So it's good to, I went to Sherry with lots of questions. She's probably tired of me emailing her questions, but
and good
but
marketing people. Yeah.
awesome marketing people. That was something that I learned that I didn't know was how important it is to market. And I will tell you that, and this is probably something you guys hear too. And I have clients that are going through like a downturn, and they tell me like, well, I think I want to cut the benefits. Oh, well, let's talk about that. What other things have you done? Well, we've cut marketing. And it feels like somebody's going down the chalkboard. I'm like, what? Your business is not doing well and you're cutting your marketing? That does not. Let's look at maybe what you're doing, like, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You can't cut all marketing, and there's no way you're going to survive.
Yeah.
That's the
Right.
situation. That is not the right choice.
Mentality.
It's not the
Yeah.
right choice. So things like that, surrounding yourself with good professionals, surrounding yourself with people that you can go to when you have a situation where, geez, I don't know what I need to do, or can you get more information, provide me more information. I mean, Sherry's been really helpful for me as I became an LLC this year. So she and her staff have guided me through that. And there's still things like, are you sure I need to do that? Yep, you need to do that. So just keeping you on that straight and narrow and, just providing that good advice throughout the years and how your business can change and grow. And then, having good friends around you too. You need, I think, people to support you because there's a lot of people that say, I want to be in business for myself, but they're in love with the idea of being in business for themselves, but they don't understand,
how much work it is.
it can be, right? But it's a labor of love for a lot of business owners is because they can't imagine themselves working for anybody else. Just having people that support you and, instead of saying, you didn't make any money or when are you going to make money? I think so. You want people that are your cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is it's like, that old saying about you are the 5 people that you hang around with. So think about the 5 people you hang around with. And that's good advice whether you're a teenager or an elementary school kid or whether you're going to be a business owner. You got to keep good stuff in your head because your attitude, your mental attitude is probably 90% of being a business owner.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. I like that.
Good thing I hang around with a pretty cool person every day. That's you.
Mackie. Oh.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, she's cool too. Funny. Okay. And then the last question is maybe what is one piece of advice that you've received that's made a difference? You've been doing this for a long time. Can you kind of think back to the beginning and what gave you that?
One piece of advice,
courage?
marketing. Just constantly being in your community. I think people that are in business that aren't part of the community, and I'm talking about giving back, right?
Yeah. And you're a big networker. We talked about that. You're in a lot of groups. You give back, you connect, you couldn't
And I
just
think
sit.
giving, and sometimes giving without the expectation of receiving, that makes a big difference in someone's.
Giver's gain.
Right, exactly. That's exactly
Karma.
it.
Good things come
Yeah.
to those.
I love that. I feel like that's something that I've really learned in our 2 years as Moxie. I know we've talked about that probably at
We had an episode about giving back. And one about networking. And one about Sherry.
Yeah.
Comes
But
together.
yeah, exactly. Well, literally, that was
Well, we
we
hang
were like-
around can you see what's happening?
Yeah,
Five.
five people. So yeah, I think giver's gain. Yeah, surrounding yourself with the right people, all things that I've really come to learn in the past couple of years. It does make a huge difference. Huge difference. Well, Deb Krump from Krump Benefit Consulting, thank you so much for sitting with us and sharing your words of wisdom and educating our listeners on this really important topic. It's always interesting to talk with you. You're fun. You're sweet. You're just an all-around good
5
person.
feet of fun.
Yeah, 5 feet of
Fun
fun.
size.
Yeah, fun size.
Awesome. I support you guys so much. It's so fun to see you guys grow and continue to grow and make an impact in the community. And so it's fun to see your billboards up there. I know Moxie. So,
Yeah.
awesome.
Friend of the brand.
That's right.
Wonderful. All right. Well,
Best
see you
friend
next-
Deb.
Best friend Deb. Yeah.
BFD.
Yeah.
That's
Wonderful.
what Brittany calls it, BFD.
Okay. Well, Moxieverse, we will see you next week on another episode of Behind the Brand.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Behind the Brand. If you liked this episode, share it with a friend. If you didn't, share it with an enemy and make sure to leave us a 5-star review. To stay connected, follow us. Links to our socials are in the show notes below.